What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Monday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt. We are back in Las Vegas, and I apologize. I'm still working out the kinks with the video. If you're watching this video, it's a little bit on the orangey side. We got to fix the camera. I'm still working on it. It's a brand new camera, so we'll get it right at some point during the next couple of days to get this thing set up properly. If you're listening to the audio podcast, you got no problems. We're same old for the audio podcast. Unfortunately, it's same old with the losing. It's been a pretty rough couple of weeks for me here, including last night where the Lions blew everything up. The Packers did too, though. So it wasn't like the Lions were the only team that choked yesterday. The Packers also did that. So that money line parlay, see you later. Look at, and this is something I'll say real quick here at the top. I know that I preach certain things, and I don't need to be reminded for you guys. I can't tell you how many guys were like, why did you go back on all of your rules? Why would you do that? That was a dumb... Look, I understand what the bet was, okay? It was a minus 140 loss. We lose money line plays all the time. It was a four-legger. It was hard to hit. It was negative EV. It was a bad bet. Whatever you want to describe it as. I was playing a trend that was 27-1. I will bet most trends that are going 27-1, including I will go back and bet that trend again next week. I will bet it again. If there are big 8-point plus favorites, I'll bet it again. Okay. It's just it happens. So I'm not upset about it. It's the way things wind up going. So we lose, that bet. The Colts got smoked. 6 turnovers. I told you if they turned the ball over at all, they were going to lose. They turned the ball over 6 times and came crashing down as the Mike Tomlin trend rears its head back about him now splitting again for the third time, being a dog in back-to-back home games, and then splitting, winning at least one of those games outright. The Lions lost to a feisty Vikings team, killed the teaser. Bills team total over. We added Seattle -3 officially on the Discord channel and on the live stream. So we go 2-3 on the day, down 1.75 units. So not a good week last week by any stretch of the imagination. We start a new week here on a Monday. We've got a Monday Night Football game, and welcome back college basketball. 2 games here in Las Vegas that are both big. I'm going to bet both of them. And before you go, what? Look, I like betting college basketball. This podcast is about what I'm betting and what I like. If you don't want to bet college basketball right now, if you want to wait and see, go right ahead, okay? This is what I am betting. I'm not requiring you guys to do anything. And yes, I know it's really early to be betting college basketball, but I love betting college basketball. Additionally, I am not going to bet any college basketball futures this year. I have decided to make that I've done enough in the NBA, in the NHL futures markets that we don't need to get involved right now. We will be involved with college basketball futures, yes. But from a win total perspective and from a conference championship perspective, I don't think it's necessary. And from a national championship perspective, it's nowhere near necessary. We're going to get as good of numbers once we see the bracket coming up in March. So I've learned a little bit here as to what I in terms of building a portfolio. I'm still going to do that, but I'm not going to start doing that until we get to the year of 2026. So nothing here as we start, but I do have 2 bets on the games happening here in Las Vegas. Before we get to the bets and the plays, let me remind you about our friends at Hard Rock Bet. Today's show being brought to you by Hard Rock Bet. This is the golden time of the year, not just pro football. We got NBA and college football, college hoops, hockey, all sharing the same stage. If you've not tried your first bet on Hard Rock Bet, you can still get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Just place a $5 bet, and if it hits, you not only get your winnings, but an extra $150 in bonus bets. Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook whenever you're in Florida. It's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado. Coming soon to more states like here in Nevada. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos every single day. So whenever you guys are listening, just open up the app, check out what you've got any day of the week, download the Hard Rock Bet app, and make your first deposit today. Okay, let's get into tonight's game with the Cowboys up against the Cardinals. Some really interesting numbers for the Dallas Cowboys, in particular with Dak Prescott, who has been simply dynamite and dominant in night games. He's 29-15-1 straight up in night games. Dak, since 2021, is 14-7 ATS in night games. Dak has done tremendous. He's 25-5 as a favorite at night, straight up. This is a 3-point number. Since 2020, there is an extremely high total going into this game. We haven't seen many numbers like this. We're at 54, but since the start of last year, since 2020, Dak Prescott is 13-0 straight up as a favorite at night, winning those games by over 18 points per game. So while we have seen a lot of blowouts, we've also seen a bunch of unders come in because 54 points or more, 5 games at night have all gone under. So how many points are the Cardinals going to score? Who knows, to be quite honest. But the Cowboys just need to win this game. I'm not going to play around with the total. I don't trust the total by any stretch here. The Cardinals are a team that has given the Cowboys fits, and it's why the number is only 3, to be quite honest. Dating back to 2008, the Cowboys are 1-7 straight up and 1-7 ATS against Arizona, losing their last 3 games at home to the Cardinals, both straight up and against the number. Not good. Drew Bledsoe was the last quarterback at home to beat Arizona in Dallas. That is a scary stat right there for me taking the Cowboys going into this. But I like the offense. I just think that this is a good spot for the Cowboys, and I think the pro money is going to keep this number down. I mean, it might cross 3, it might get over to 3.5, but I just think, Kyler Murray and the under on the road has been a very good bet. You can bet the under in this game if you want. I might find myself under the under, but the Cowboys are 3-0 this year to home overs. They are 15-6 over the last 3 seasons to home overs. So you have a trend with Kyler Murray going on the road and under. You have a Dallas Cowboys trend at home and over. I'm just going to stay away from this and just bet the Cowboys -3 to find a way to win the game. Dallas -3 for 1.1 units. I'm going to go to the prop bet cheat sheet, and I'm going to jump in on a player prop for George Pickens. George Pickens has had a great start to the 2025 season. The last 3 games in 6 of the last 7 games, he has gone over 64.5 rushing and receiving yards for the Dallas Cowboys. This is a 5-star play on the prop bet cheat sheet. It has a 66% cover probability and a plus 23% expected value. I just think when you have CeeDee Lamb and you have a defense that has, coming into the season was expected to do big things, but even against good coverage, against good defense, Dak Prescott and George Pickens have a really good rotation going on. 6 of 7, 3 in a row. We'll go George Pickens over 64.5 rushing and receiving yards in case they wind up throwing a sweep in there for George Pickens. I'm not sure why the prop bet cheat sheet likes the extra option of the rush. We don't get very many of them, but Pickens to go just receiving over 64.5 yards, receiving easily at -115. So 2 bets, both on the Cowboys coming up here tonight for Monday Night Football. Dallas laying the 3 points, and George Pickens over 64.5 rushing and receiving yards coming up here tonight for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we have 2 games in college basketball here in Las Vegas for one of the pre-conference tournaments that gets rolling. Before I give you the bets there, a reminder about the prop bet cheat sheet. If you want to go check it out yourself, you can go and do so pretty easily with the prop bet cheat sheet. This is something that's available right now if you want to go and jump in on it, and I would recommend it if you like betting props. This is pretty cool. Prop bet cheat sheet shows you the best value plays every day. Get daily prop bet value rankings based on projections. Find the best props for all major passing, rushing, and receiving stats for the game coming up tonight. Use it now at bettingpros.com/props or go to the Betting Pros app and use the prop bet cheat sheet. Okay, let's start with Florida and Arizona. Numbers 3. Florida went 11-3 last year on neutral site games. This is all about Todd Golden, the head coach and now the national championship winning head coach for the Florida Gators. They're taking on an Arizona team that is a very good Arizona team and could be very good, but a lot of new pieces for Arizona. There are some there's 3 members of the national championship team coming back for Florida, and that's why they are preseason ranked in the top 3. This is a culture play for me, okay? This is Todd Golden back for his 4th season. This is a guy who was a tremendous bet on last year for what he did with the Gators. They came out of the gate really good last year. They went 5-3 against the number in the month of November, so he had his players locked in and focused and good to go. I think Florida is going to go try to do a bit more on the up-tempo side here for this, but I mean, this number being 3, KenPom has it as a 5-point win for Florida. Wildcats are ranked 13th in the polls, and that they were 23-13 last year, but they have so many new faces coming in here that it's hard to know what you're going to get out of Arizona. This is just another one of these teams that just has so many new faces and so many players that you're not exactly sure what the culture is going on, even though it is obviously the same coaching staff for Arizona. I'll lay the 3 points here. I think there could be a pretty decent sized Gator contingency coming out just because football has gone so sideways after firing Billy Napier that folks in Gainesville can't wait to get talking about basketball and rolling over here. So I think that's big to have the Gators and, a team that fans want to travel and support, teams that they want to be backing. I'll come in and lay it. Let's go with a short number here. Florida -3 at here in Vegas up against Arizona for 1.1 units. And finally, it's BYU and Villanova. Look at no more Neptune. He's gone. This is Kevin Willard now. But here's the problem. This might be the best BYU basketball team in forever. They have the number 1 ranked recruit overall. KenPom has them ranked 18th, which is somewhat surprising. And KenPom has this as a 5-point win for BYU over Villanova. But look, Kevin Willard's a good coach. He's bringing over a couple of role players from Maryland. I don't know what to make of Nova coming out here to Las Vegas with Kevin Willard, where it's going to be a road game for Villanova. I mean, BYU, there is so much hype for this BYU roster, and rightfully so, given how talented this team might wind up being. And Vegas is a BYU town. There's a lot of people who went to BYU who live here. There's a lot of people who would travel here from Utah to be a part of it. This is the marquee game of this 2-game set. This is the marquee team of this 2-game set. And I think from a BYU perspective, this is Kevin Young's got a ton of attention. And he's got a ton of pressure on him. But if this was, a Jay Wright Villanova team, even a Kyle Neptune team where it was established, I might say that defensively Villanova would be given some fits, but I don't know what Nova's going to look like under Kevin Willard. I can't trust it. The number's huge, but I just think it's justified given how deep and talented this BYU team is. I don't know. I think this is going to be a really tough night here in the desert for Villanova. I think it's BYU, and it's BYU big. I'll lay the 8.5 points. BYU -8.5 in Las Vegas up against maybe a team in Nova that down the road might be okay in the Big East, but not out of the gate, not against BYU, not with this crowd. This is a showcase. BYU -8.5. Now, plays for today. Cowboys -3. George Pickens over 64.5 rushing and receiving. Florida -3 up against Arizona in college basketball. In BYU laying 8.5. Same place at T-Mobile Arena for them up against Villanova. Now, if you guys want to hear more breakdown about what's happening for tonight's Monday Night Football game, also NBA and NHL previews, there's a couple of NHL bets I'm eyeballing that I want to get into. You can join me at 1 o'clock Eastern time on my other show, The Bostonian versus the Book. We call it BVB. Search at Boston versus the Book on Twitter or X, at Boston versus the Book on YouTube, or at Boston versus the Book on any audio platform for you guys to go get the podcast. We break down and recap everything that happened over the weekend and then preview Monday Night Football, Cowboys, Cardinals, plus talk about the NBA. College basketball obviously will be a big factor. We'll take a look at some teams' paths to winning a national championship in college hoops. It's all coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern time on the Bostonian versus the Book YouTube channel at Boston versus the Book. We stream it on Twitter X as well for at Boston versus the book. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all my socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning, wherever you guys get your podcasts. It is the Daily Juice.